Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching the video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about which of the various soccer leagues you should watch. Unlike in American sports where you just have the NBA for basketball or you just have the NFL for football, in soccer, there are literally dozens of different leagues to choose from, and which one you watch is really going to dictate what teams you follow, which various players you know about, and kind of be a big decision. So, this is meant to help you a little bit with that. To start with, though, as a quick recap, I'm making these series of videos for people who are looking to get into soccer, don't know too much about it. This is meant to be something of a crash course on various topics, so that's how I'll be going about this. This is very much a fan opinion. It is nothing completely backed up or heavily researched. Also, in this video specifically, this is a very, very subjective call. There is no definitive metric that says this team or this country's league is the best in the world. That doesn't exist. It's actually a debate among fans all the time. But I generally think what I'm saying here is not really too controversial. Most fans would probably agree with the high level points that I'm making. So if you're looking to start watching soccer, there is no question that if you want to watch the very best, you need to watch European soccer. There's no question that the very best in the world all gravitate towards there, mainly because everyone knows it's where the very best play, but also it has the most money. It's where you're going to financially reap the most rewards. So it's just where the best play. There's a ton of different leagues to choose from, but I would say the most important are England's Premier League, Spain's La Liga, Germany's Bundesliga, and Italy's Serie A. There definitely are other leagues. France is considered to be a big league, but in my opinion, not really too relevant, and the play isn't that good. The players aren't necessarily at the same level, and honestly, they're barely holding on to being in that top category. Really, to me, they fall in the secondary one. But there's also other ones as well. But if you're looking to really watch it and have a consistent stream you can always watch, get good media coverage, have lots of really good competitive matches all the time with the best players, it's those top big four leagues from England, Spain, Germany, and Italy. That being said, though, there are other good leagues in the world. I think everyone in South America gravitates towards Argentina and Brazil as the two continent leagues in South America to play at. And then those that are really good will get picked up by someone in Europe sooner or later. You also have the J League in Japan, the K League in Korea, and in North America, you have the MLS in the US and the Mexican League. Honestly, none of them are that good. I would say if you're in the US, definitely check out live matches. Nothing really is the same as that experience, but just be aware that the MLS is just not that good of a league. I think if you watch matches on TV or in person, and then you watch any of the big four leagues in Europe, you're just going to see it's completely different. The level of play is just head and shoulders better in Europe than in Major League Soccer. It just is what it is for now. Hopefully that changes over time. So if you're trying to decide between the big four and why you should watch one or the other, well, I would say historically there have been some pretty big differences between them. England has always been known as a very brutal, hard tackling, very fast and aggressive league. Something like Spain has been known to be a little bit slower, more technical. A lot of individual skills are shown off, but it's also a lot less physical than a place like England. Italy has been known to be relatively defensive and very low scoring and honestly kind of boring to a lot of people. Germany, I honestly don't think really has a reputation one way or the other. They're just known as a solid, good league. But all of these traits that I'm talking about, honestly, they're more 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000s. None of those traits really are applicable today. And I think the main reason for that is with all the money that has flown into soccer in the last couple decades, free agency has really blown up. Players are now moving between countries a lot more than they used to. Back in the 80s, 90s, players often played in their domestic league from where they were from. So the Premier League was full of just players from England. It wasn't called the Premier League then, but let's just call it that for now. The Bundesliga was full of mainly Germans. There were obviously exceptions here and there, but for the most part, it really had that same crop of players you would pull from and coaches as well. But now with players from different countries moving all over Europe and coaches bringing their tactical styles all over, the leagues are very much, I don't want to say homogenized, but there are now just given tactics and a handful of tactics that players and coaches will pull from. And I wouldn't say one league is notably different than the other. Honestly, they're all just full of really, really good players, really, really good coaches, really, really good tactics, and you can't go wrong choosing one over the other. A really nice thing too, though, is that let's say you choose to follow England's Premier League and you're then scared of missing out on matches from Real Madrid or Barcelona who play in Spain, or from Bayern Munich or Dortmund who play in Germany. The good news is if you get into soccer, you're not going to miss those teams. You can definitely watch them on their own in the domestic leagues, but the really cool thing about soccer in Europe is that there's a European tournament called the Champions League and two other ones of a lower tier called Europa and Europa Conference. But basically, the very best, highest ranked teams in each of the leagues across Europe, they will have their own domestic leagues they play in on the weekends, but on the weekdays, they're in another league essentially playing in a tournament against the very, very best. So on a Tuesday, Wednesday, you're watching your team from England play against a team from Italy, and that's a tournament to see who is the very, very best in all of Europe. But then separately on the weekends, you're watching your English team again, and they're playing in the domestic league to see who will win the domestic English league. It's really, really cool. You have two different tournaments you're essentially following in one season. And there's actually even more than that on top of it, which I'll get to in another video. But the really, really nice thing is just because you choose one league, it doesn't mean you're going to miss out on all the other big teams that are out there. More likely than not, you'll be seeing them play in the Champions League as well. I think another really important factor when deciding what league you want to follow is also being able to reliably watch it and watch it with other people. If you're on the streamers, ESPN, Paramount Plus, Peacock, those are the three that cover the big four leagues and the Champions League. Now, no one streamer covers all of them. You'll have to get different streamers based on which league you want to follow. Unfortunately, there's no Sports Center equivalent to be able to watch the best highlights across all of soccer. You really do need to have the different streamers. I'll go to YouTube to watch it. It's kind of annoying. But also really important is, I think, being able to watch it with other people. You're waking up really, really early on the weekends on the West Coast to watch matches. Some of them start as early as 4:30 in the morning, or even on the West Coast. 7, 8, 9 a.m. is pretty standard starting time. So you form a really strong community with other people getting up that early to go to a bar to watch matches. And that to me is a huge part of the appeal. I think there's just a really strong camaraderie among the people that are getting up that early to watch it. You kind of form friendships with those people, and it makes, in my opinion, the experience that much more fun. Nothing matches the live experience, obviously, but in my opinion, this just makes the matches a lot more special for me, being able to watch it with regulars that I constantly see at the bar I go to, and knowing that we're kind of in this together, watching a relatively small sport compared to all the big ones in the US. I think also media coverage, if that matters to you, is also an important factor. I think England's Premier League, it's in English. You're going to have a lot more accessible media coverage for that league than you will for something like Italy's Serie A. There definitely is media coverage for the other ones, but unquestionably, the most amount of media coverage you'll see for English speakers will be England's Premier League. Also, it is the biggest league in the US by far. I think more people watch the Premier League than watch the other three leagues combined. So if that matters to you, being able to have more people to kind of talk about this with, England's Premier League is the way to go. But that being said, don't let me put you off the other three. They are incredibly good. They have some of the best players and teams in the world. So honestly, again, you cannot go wrong choosing any of these four leagues. So I know I didn't answer the question of which one should I watch. Like I said, there is no wrong choice here. Personally, I follow the Premier League just because I do want to have more of that media coverage, and I do have a pretty good crew of people that I watch my matches with that just wouldn't exist the same numbers if I was following a German team. They certainly are out there, but you have to look for it more. I think if you're in any major city, you're probably going to find a bar meetup for any of the major teams. If you're in New York, you're going to be able to find it for any team that's out there. But for everyone else out there, it's just easier to watch it with other people if you're following one of the big teams, and even more so in one of the big leagues. But again, totally up to you. I think do your homework, watch a couple games from the different leagues, see which one seems the most appealing to you. I would say pick a team based on the one that you most align with. I'll make a video about the various teams soon. What I will say though is that in soccer, there very much is this notion of choosing a team for life. Some fans obviously follow the players as they move around different leagues and teams, but in soccer, for the most part, I'd say you're meant to choose a team You stick with them through thick and thin. They may be good, they may be bad, but that's just your choice. If you do change teams a lot, you're probably going to get a lot of shit for it. And so just don't say I didn't warn you. It definitely is a part of the soccer culture, but that's why it really does matter what team you choose and what league you decide to watch, because more likely than not, you're going to be spending most of your time following that league. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it answered a few questions you had. I'll definitely be making a follow-up video about what are the various big teams in the Premier League first, probably, and hopefully that helps you choose which team you want to follow. So until then, see ya.